Gills fans, welcome to part 2 of today's question and answer session. We'll get straight into it. The rest of the questions that weren't answered in part 1. First one in here is from David O'Hagan, who has asked me if we are any nearer knowing our best 11 and our most preferred system since AD arrived. For me, I would say no, David, we're not. AD set us up in a 4-4-1 system during the early part of his reign, and it seemed to work away from home. 2 banks of 4 made us secure to a degree. At home it's not really worked when we've had to get on the front foot, had to boss games, had to try and open up teams, and for that reason I think Tuesday he went to the diamond, which worked. I thought Rory, Cody and Jan Manuel Thomas were a threat up front. Daki and Wagstaff ably supported them from the sides of the diamond, and I thought Josh Wright was perhaps our best player at the base, protected the back 4, protected his centre backs really well. The reason I don't think AD knows his best 11, his best system, is because of the fact that it's not his team, it's not his set of players, he's not had a pre-season, he's learning on the job, he's having to learn quick, we're desperate for wins, so there might still be a little bit of chopping and changing. Hopefully if we can pick up 3 points on Saturday at Coventry, then the confidence starts coming back, and then we might get a little bit more consistency and continuity in terms of systems, personnel, and hopefully results. Mike Gammon has spoken about us drawing our last 5 games, saying we've not been outclassed in any of these games. We're scoring in each of the 5, albeit not regularly through our strikers. So if I could choose one signing that I could get into the club immediately, whether it be a defender or a striker, and Mike, I would go defender. We've needed a proper centre back for 18 months now at least. An old school Adam El Abd type, and I've said him before and I'll say him again, I don't necessarily mean him, but someone who's a bit of a throwback centre back, edit, tackle, kick it, win it, give it to others that can go and play with it. So that would be my choice, a proper experienced hard as nails centre back. Lee Clifton has asked me about AD's criticism of academy football during the week, and has said, would it be more beneficial for youngsters to go out and learn their trade in League 1 and League 2? I say yes, Lee, 100%. Doesn't have to just be Leagues 1 and 2, it can be the Conference North, Conference South. At any level, if you can go and experience proper football, whether that's at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, 7:45 on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, it's better than playing reserve games behind closed doors friendlies. In the lower leagues, if you're a prospect that's out on loan, a star player so to speak, an up and coming talent, then you're going to have to learn quickly. Excuse me, because old school pros in these sides are not going to take too kindly to some wannabe, as they may see it turning up. They're going to kick you up in the air, they're going to dig you out, elbow under ribs, scuds down the backs of calves, ankles, etc. And as harsh as that sounds, I think it's a proper good grounding, and maybe it's something that doesn't happen enough in the modern game. Steve Brackley has asked me whether the lack of experience and leadership on the pitch this season will cost us come the end of the campaign. I hope not, Steve, but we're only going to find out with time, I think. We know AD went off and won after Chesterfield. Saturday's massive in terms of what we're all about, not just technically in terms of skills, but in terms of mindset, belief, bottle. We're going to have to go to Coventry. I don't think it's going to be pretty by a million miles. It'd be nice to go there and turn up and play them off the park, but I can't see it happening. I think it's going to be an old blood and guts, ugly kind of game. So I think come 5 PM on Saturday afternoon, we'll find out whether we have any of that we've been talking about. And if not, and we don't get a result, I fear for us a little bit. Gary Norman has asked me if anything has really changed since AD and Co come into the club. He still thinks that we're getting the last minute substitutions in games like we was getting under Justin. To that, Gary, I would say AD substitutions that are late in games are completely different to what Justin was doing. The frustrating thing for me with Justin Edinburgh was we'd be losing games and he'd try and bring strikers on with 5 minutes or less and think they're going to change the game, think they're going to save him, score a goal, earn us a point, earn us a win. You get very lucky from time to time, but that's not how it works. You've got to give people 20 minutes, half hour to settle into games, to get up to speed of the play. And in terms of Aidie's changes, I think he's made a last-minute change on Tuesday. He's trying to see out a football match. Any other manager at any other level would have done the same thing, I believe. Protecting a 1-0 lead, trying to shore things up. And if we see it out and win 1-0, everyone talks about a perfect home performance and doesn't bat an eyelid at the substitution. So I think that's changed. He's been a lot quicker to make changes if we need things to be progressing on the pitch, so to speak. And for me, I think they've been a lot better than what Justin was offering up in the last few months. Luke Naylor has asked me if we've seen the last of Paul Konchesky in a Gillingham shirt at Priestfield. I would say yes, barring suspensions or injuries, Luke. It seems clear that Aidie doesn't rate him for whatever reason. I personally think his legs have completely gone. I've lost count of the amount of times that he's let wingers get in behind, get on the inside, get on the blind side of him this season. Prime example was Swindon, and that was very early on in the season, where he's let someone run in on the blind side, can't catch him, and he's brought him down for a penalty. I think he did it at Millwall as well. Unfortunately, as sad as it is, and he's been a top pro for years, I think he might be done. I think he might retire at the end of the season. Ian Riches has gone back to questions about Aidie Penick. Is he the right man for the job this season and beyond? Sorry, beyond this season. Ian, I think I've touched on it in part one. Depends on where we are, mate. I think if we win Saturday and go on a run and pick up some good points and progress up the league and finish strongly, then I think Aidie will be in charge next season in League One. I think Paul Scally's already mentioned that. If we're in League Two, it's a completely different question. What budget will we have? What names will we be able to attract? It may be a case that Aidie stays as that as well, because no one else will come in, unfortunately. But there's a long way to go this season. I think that's a question for another day. Stephen, or KFG 2003, has asked me, do I think we have enough about us to get to 52 points? He feels that the quality is there in terms of playing staff, but do we have enough about us in terms of mentality? Again, I've already mentioned it, Stephen. Saturday's huge. We'll find out a lot about our players. We've got to go to Coventry on a tricky pitch against a side that's lower on confidence than us, if that's possible. We might even be favourites, ironically, which is odd considering we've not won since middle of December. But as I've already said, I think come 5 p.m. Saturday afternoon, we'll know a lot about whether we have enough stomach for a fight to achieve what we're trying to achieve, and that is to earn enough points to stay in League One. Georgie Boxall has asked me whether I would keep Aidie Penick if we got relegated. I'd have to say no, I think. Unfortunately, Georgie, as much as I love Aidie Penick for what he did at the football club as a player, he's an absolute legend. He clearly cares about the club. You can tell that in his press conferences, his interviews, his antics on the touchline. There's passion there. But ultimately, if we get relegated, he's failed in what he was coming into the club to do, I believe, and I think we then have to look at alternatives. David Creasy, last but not least by any means. Who would I release or keep at the end of the season, and is it time for a complete freshen up and overhaul of the squad? As I've already mentioned with previous questions, David, I think that will be a question we can answer better at the end of the season. We will have an idea then of what league we're playing in next season. We would hopefully have an idea of who the gaffer will be for next season. But ultimately it comes down to the players and their commitment to the cause, their ability to put in performances between now and May and try and keep us in this league at the very least. I think a lot of them are playing for their futures, not just those that are out of contract in the summer. I think plenty could be put on the transfer list if things go awry between now and May. So I would say wait and see, watch this space. Right, thanks again for all those that have put their questions to me today. It's been fun, as I've already mentioned. Please keep retweeting them. Please keep telling your mates, friends, other Gills fans about the channel if you enjoy it. Please keep subscribing and all that. I appreciate all the support that I've had so far. It's been first class. I can't thank you enough. And until we speak again, up the Gills.